Special Operations, Covert Ops, Espionage, The Team House, with your hosts, Jack Murphy and David Park.
Here we are, 2023 year in review episode. Is this the bullshit throwaway episode at the very end of the year where we're just filling space because we don't want to be here on actual New Year's?
That's what it definitely is. Yeah.
But
if you're joining us for this episode, it's the most important episode of the year.
It kind of, I would say, the thing about this is we do a lot of episodes and probably some of them get lost in the mix. And so if you're wondering, or maybe you just found this channel, we can give you a quick overview of who was on the show this year, and you can figure out which sound the most interesting to you. So that's my pitch. That's the best I got.
I'm there with you. I'm there for it. I'm there for it. I mean, with my TBIs, I'm lucky that I remember the episode we did 2 weeks ago. So fortunately for you all, Jack leads these discussions.
Well, yeah, with 3 pages of notes, because I couldn't remember all this either. So a few channel statistics to start off with.
Guys, in 2024, I promise you, I'm going to figure out how to get Jack to wear this microphone. Can you turn your head? It's perfect. You're great. You're so good.
So this is YouTube statistics. There's other podcast statistics that actually I didn't even look at. Maybe you did, D.
I didn't look at the
You
audio
did?
stuff.
Well, pull them up if you want sometime during the show, and we can cover them at the end. So on YouTube, we had 18 million views, 61,000 new subscribers, and we did a total of 68 episodes. Our top episode and top live stream was our interview with Gary Harrington, and our top short was Mike Edwards. So this was like a good year, man. This is a good year of growth. Like I remember, I think the last time we did this, we were talking about the goal was to make 100,000. I think we were at 50.
Yeah.
Last year, we were like, our goal is to make 100,000, and we're at like almost 125 right now.
Yeah.
So we overshot. Good problem to have.
Yeah. Yeah. Overachievers. You know how we roll.
And so we're looking at Spreaker here, D.
This is our... The one annoying part is this is our audio stats, but our audio stats are split because we changed the platforms.
Midway through, right?
Yeah, so...
Okay, so it's not giving you a yearly total.
It's not going to give us the yearly total, give us the last 90 days.
Gotcha. But wow, it just in the last month, 88,000 downloads and over 1 million impressions over the last 30 days.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad.
Is that $3 million?
Yes, it is.
No, yeah.
You're getting the baby giraffe.
Yeah, finally. And the annoying thing about Spreaker is you have to go to eat. No one can see this because it's like it shows how much money we make. But you have to go to a single show, like so. You know, you hit one specific one, it gives you the downloads.
Okay.
I think the biggest downloaded one we have audio wise is Gary Harrington. It's like in the 30,000s.
And what do you think the split is, D, between YouTube and the podcast, between the stream and the podcast?
Oof. I would say on average, it's probably close to, I would say it's probably 60, on average 60-40 video views to listens.
Okay.
But on YouTube, we have the opportunity, like for a show like Gary Harrington's that's got like 900,000 views. A show like that'll probably do like 30, like I said, 30,000 listens, which is like double what we normally, we get around 15,000 listens on average per show.
That's awesome.
Yeah, YouTube is the place where like we have the opportunity for a show to like really take off and like gain some grind, like gain some like legs.
Is that because of the algorithm? That'll like throw our. You might also like.
I think so. I think it's partly that, and I think it's just people who listen to podcasts. They don't really get those kinds of suggestions, right? Like they don't have like an algorithm like that. They might get some suggestions depending on the platform, but it's not the same. Like YouTube just wants you to continue to watch shows.
Yeah.
Like watch videos no matter what. So they'll try and feed you shit.
Right.
Yeah.
But audio wise, I think audio is like you're an audio listener. You consume your podcast via Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And the YouTube stuff is a little different. I mean, I'm sure because I listen to pods and I do watch some pods too, so it's like mixed. Yeah, so I would say on average, an average show, a show that does around 35,000 views and listens, it'll be about 60-40 views to audio.
That's awesome, man. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but I think this has been like a really good year for the show. Totally like came into its own, and like now we're a mid-sized podcast.
Yeah,
totally.
We're not Joe Rogan, but we are a mid-sized podcast.
Yeah,
we're out there. We're out and about, right?
A mid-sized podcast with small-sized sound.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're still trying to figure out the sound. I think we're there. I think we've gotten there.
And I'll take this moment to also just thank all the people who support the channel, especially the people who support us on Patreon. And all those who do, they get ad-free episodes plus some bonus episodes also. And I mean, that's what enabled all of this, really. And this year, like, I think we finished everything we ever wanted to do with the studio, pretty much.
Yeah, I think it's pretty done.
Now it's time to move.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they did church up there.
I heard they were kicking Friday.
I was texting Jack last episode, freaking out about it.
But I mean, this place is awesome. I'm really happy with how it came out. We updated our TriCaster, got a new TriCaster this year, which for those who aren't like super tech guys, it's a computer. Yeah, exactly. like me. That's the computer that is basically the brains of the whole live stream. Like all the audio, all the video goes into that, and D produces the show live in the software, the TriCaster new tech software. So
yeah, so if you're seeing me now switch through the camera angles, that's me doing that.
So some of you guys start yelling at us like, why don't you just record the ad reads later and then insert them? And it's like, it's a live show. And like, oh, so you mean those things that pop up on screen in the intro and the camera cuts, that's all just done live? I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
That's why sometimes it's fucked up.
Yeah, no, exactly. It is, yeah.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
So
I love it live. I really do prefer it live.
Yeah, no, me too. I couldn't imagine going back, going the other way. I don't know. What do you think, Dave, as far as like other things, like before we get into like a blow-by-blow episode review, like things that went down in 2023, happy with, ambivalent about?
Yeah, happy and ambivalent. No, I mean, the studio really came together. And again, it's unfortunate because we do have some challenges with our neighbors in the studio. There was no way we could have foreseen. There's just in the future, we'll ask future landlords if there is
a church upstairs,
a church upstairs,
Ethiopian
an Ethiopian
evangelical church
upstairs that does services at night.
It was funny too. Last week, so I was texting with the neighbors upstairs, and she sends me the flyer for their service, and I sent it to Jack. I'm like, check out this flyer. You want to go to the next one? Because they started at 10 o'clock. So, I mean, they do push it for us. I got to give them some credit, but, like, sometimes they do, like, a sound check or whatever. So, like, throughout the episode last week with Mark, I was hearing them upstairs like, oh, my God, they're going to start fucking rocking soon.
I think we should all do mushrooms and roll up there one day.
Yeah.
And just enter the service.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a fun service.
It does sound like they're having fun, doesn't it?
It sounds, yeah, because it is like an African Christian church, so they are just rocking like this African music. It sounds so good, but the drums, the speakers, everything is on the floor, so it all just vibrates down through.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, we should buy them like rubber pads to put under all their shit,
or like a new place to do this.
This is like one of the big cultural differences is like black people have fun at church, unlike us.
Yeah, we're like repressed fucking animals at church.
Yeah. Yeah. White people are sitting there about.
I got some love on Twitter about like the fucking what I was saying during Mark's episode about like the church upstairs. Like how I was freaking out about it, and how I was like talking shit about the Greek Orthodox Church, which I can do because I was born and raised Greek Orthodox. Because I guess Mark did a speech for them in Chicago, and I was like saying how they like embezzle money and stuff like that, which they fucking do. It's not a joke. It was hilarious. It was
And
funny.
you got heat on Twitter? Or you
No,
just...
somebody was like, that was funny.
Oh, good. Yeah. It was funny, though. D's a funny dude.
Thank you.
D should have a few shows of his own.
I can't handle that. I can't handle the pressure.
All right.
I could do it.
So, develop any further thoughts. We'll come back. We'll revisit at the end. Jumping into the episodes. We started the new year. We started 2023 with episode 184, Pat McNamara. That was a
good one.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
Great episode. Pat's a great guy. I had never met him before the show. I mean, I had heard that he was a great dude. But yeah, really great dude. Great story, too. You know,
he had the best origin story we've ever heard, I think, on the show. About how his older brother was kind of a punk.
Oh, that's
He would
right.
Pick on him.
Yeah.
And Pat took martial arts, was in the gym lifting weights, and came back and whooped his brother's ass.
Yeah. There's like a Rocky montage.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, but also his post-service life and that dip he had. The
Feeling like
the
shit.
divorce and
Yeah.
everything, and and then his comeback from that. I think I really like those types. Not those types of stories, but I really appreciate when people who have suffered something like that and come back from it are able to talk about it, because it shows that even for a machine, somebody like Pat Mack, who, you think of at this next higher level, how, humanity hits us all,
Life comes at you.
Yeah, life comes at you.
Yeah, Pat was somebody who people had requested we have on for a long time, and I don't see. Pat's done quite a few interviews, but I don't remember too many where he really told his whole story like that. It was awesome. I really liked it.
Yeah, the one crazy part I remember specifically was when he was doing a static line jump, and he got caught.
Yeah,
that was fucking gnarly.
yeah. He has a free fall story too that he told me once that was pretty wild. We'll get him to tell that another time. So episode 185, Ken DeCleva, who was a State Department and CIA psychologist. That was a cool episode too.
Holy shit, that was a year ago.
Yeah, man.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was a whole interesting perspective of working in Moscow, and who's taking Sistema courses.
Yeah.
Fighting with GRU guys and
Yeah.
stuff, fighting martial arts, training. That was a pretty cool episode.
What's up, guys? This episode today is sponsored by HelloFresh. What is HelloFresh? With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Hello. They do breakfast too, by the way, which I was shocked by, because I've gotten a bunch of HelloFresh and it was awesome. It was all lunch and dinners, and they do breakfast, which I'm amped about. I'm gonna get some ASAP. I've actually, maybe I should say this. When they send us some meals, right? And I didn't let the guys in on it the first time. The second time I gave it to them because I'm a great person, but I took it home. It was delicious. There was some chicken bolognese. It was excellent. It was so good. I'm not even kidding. It was really good. HelloFresh has over 45 recipes and more than 100 seasonal add-on items that you choose from every week. So it's easier than ever to find something everyone will enjoy. It's awesome. It's true. I'm not even kidding. I got it. I think I got it last month. It was super quick to make. The portions are great. You don't have to worry about putting too much in, which is good, especially if you're trying to watch your figure, like I am always. It was delicious and it's awesome. So go to hellofresh.com/teamhousefree and use the code teamhousefree for free breakfast for life. What? No. Go to hellofresh.com/teamhousefree and use the code teamhousefree for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's a free breakfast for life at hellofresh.com/teamhousefree with the code teamhousefree. You can check out the link too in the description and the show notes. Whoa. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. hellofresh.com/teamhousefree.
and use the code TEAMHOUSEFREE for free breakfast for life. I'm just double reading this just to make sure that I'm reading it right. Am I going to use my own promo code? Awesome. Thanks, HelloFresh. Thank you, guys, for supporting the sponsors. Bye-bye.
186, the LERP trio. This was number 2 after Ken Miller, Larry Chambers.
Oh, that was great.
Larry was awesome, man.
I remember that one got fucking copyrighted because which is crazy because we didn't even play like the music or the audio from his whether it was a History Channel or A&E, like the documentary about LERPs that Larry was like that he was in, and he was like reacting to, and it got copyright striked.
Yeah, that was kind of bullshit. But it was a great interview.
Really good.
Larry's a great character too. And then episode 187 was Alex Hollings talking about some aerospace stuff.
Alex is always fun to talk to.
Yeah, he's always like super into it.
Alex is killing it too.
Honestly, YouTube. Alex, with Alex's personality, he could be into like pig farming or geology, or just like
butterfly collecting.
Lumber. Like he could talk about different types of lumber, and it would be fun. Because he's excited about it.
I want to love something as much as he loves like aviation.
Yeah.
In my life.
Yeah.
A person, a thing.
Yeah.
I wish.
Here's a sidebar. Have you ever seen this is a RPG thing? Have you ever seen Matt Colville on the YouTubes?
No, I don't think so.
He's an RPG designer and has like a small company now. But when he starts talking, he's like so excited and so into it.
I'll have to check him out.
And he'll go off on these. He was talking about like the history of D&D, and then went off into a sidebar, the history of synthesizers. And it's like, I know nothing about that. I don't know why you're talking about it, but it's really interesting. And I hope you keep going with it. Yeah, Matt Colville he reminds me of Alex. Episode 188, Mark Denbow, who was a Gitmo lawyer and
Mark. Yeah.
Mark, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot his name on the I forgot I couldn't recall his name on the Andy Stump show. That was an interesting episode. I mean, for me, it was a challenging episode because, Mark was there protecting people, and rightfully so. But he was there to, ensure the civil rights or human rights of people in Gitmo, and I didn't have, many fond feelings about the people in Gitmo.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, these public prosecutors and so forth and public defenders, I mean, they're a necessary, I don't want to say a necessary evil. I don't think they're evil, but, somebody has to make sure the government's doing the legwork, right?
Absolutely.
189 was Ish Viegas. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. He'll come beat me up. Ish was CCT. He had some awesome stories about Afghanistan. That was a really good one.
Yeah.
190 was Jesse Betcher. And Jesse was like that generation of operators that was like in the thick of it, like in the mix of it for years and years.
Yeah. Yeah, Jesse was great.
Yeah, he had some awesome stories too. 191 was Joel Funk, MH47 pilot. Mm-hmm. He was really good. 192 was a little offbeat for us. Chad Michael Collins,
voice actor extraordinaire,
voice actor in Call of Duty and in the Sniper series, the Sniper franchise. And Sniper Grit is out. The Sniper 10 is out, and it's coming to Netflix in this month actually. So
we need to carve off a day to do a Sniper marathon, I think.
Absolutely.
We should react to watching Sniper. It can't be a good movie. I know you like it, Jack, but it's got to be.
You got to like accept it for what it is. Like it's a fun, campy kind of over the top. There's jokes in it, and at the end, the good guys win, and you'll come away from it like with a good feeling. It's not like watching Schindler's List and you walk away from it like, oh fuck, man.
It's like Wanted, right? Nobody can bend bullets. Right. They can't bend bullets. But you believe in this world where people can bend bullets. Like it's just fun.
I look at it in the same vein as like Die Hard.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
I'm not looking for like total gritty realism. Right. From a film like that. And Chad said he wanted to do another show, and I told him yes, but you have to come in studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Through New York.
He's boys with my friend George, so like. I'll tell George to like.
And
bust
tell
some
him
balls,
to tell him to hook us up with the voice actress from
Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's
3.
Gate.
I know.
So that we can
I don't know
do a
if
new
those
intro.
Also, supposedly, my friend George, because he's like all plugged into the Hollywood shit, he said that they're gonna be making snipers now, like every year for the next 20 years.
Bro, Chad has fucking hooked it up, man.
Yeah.
He's got the gig. And you know, I bet I know why that is because when they put those films on Netflix,
Yeah, it
whatever the
blew up.
deal was, like they were like number 1, number 2 on Netflix for like weeks.
And
It's
I-
like that's got to be a huge thing.
Yeah, no,
for them.
I think they got like a ton of streaming hours. Like it was like another level. That's why they're doing it. Legit, only because like it blew up on Netflix.
I
for them.
haven't seen like the ones that you guys were talking about. Like now that they have sort of like the team stuff, but it almost sounds like somebody doing like G.I. Joe or Suicide Squad, but doing it sort of in their own way for their own reason. Like they're creating this team, this fun team, and they're not beholden to any property. They're not.
Right.
You know, they're just making a good movie.
Yeah, in each one can be, and it is pretty different
Yeah.
from one another. Which
Yeah.
that's the hard thing I think with genre films or books is that you don't want to write the same book or make
Right.
the same movie over and over. 193, The Return of Tim Weiner.
Oh yeah.
That was a good one. We talked about a lot of some historical stuff, but mostly I think we got into more contemporary stuff. Oh, Iraq. You remember net-centric warfare with Don Rumsfeld? I remember kept circling back around to that one. Tim's awesome. I had dinner with Tim like 2 months ago. I don't think he'll mind me saying this. He's like 2/3 of the way through his book. He's writing the sequel to Legacy of Ashes.
Oh, nice.
So when he's done, when that book is published, we'll have him back on the show to talk about it for
Sounds
sure.
fantastic.
194 was Aaron Brown, former Ranger and CIA officer. He had some cool stories.
Yeah, that was a really good one. I enjoyed Aaron.
Yeah. He's a very smart guy.
He had a good rundown, like the TikTok of what went down with the UBL raid. And how he like snuck into the room and shit, like he wasn't supposed to be in there.
Being in some of those meetings must have been pretty gnarly.
It's got to be crazy.
Yeah, and like the tension's got to be like pretty high. 195 was Dave Madden, Navy
was a great-
SEAL, one of the few that has slipped through the cracks.
Because we're SEAL haters.
Yeah, but Dave was great, man. He was awesome. Mostly his trips, as I recall, he was doing village stability operations in Afghanistan. Yeah, Dave's a great guy. He's doing good stuff out there.
He had a really good description of a first firefight and what it's like for guys who've never been in it,
Right.
and how fucking insane it is. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, man. Dave's a good guy. And he hooked us up with that cider, too.
Yeah. Posterity.
Episode 196 was Vivek Jacob, who served in 9 Para, Indian Special Operations Forces. And that was a good episode, like something like, again, like kind of like offbeat for us because it was about his military career, but then like his post-service time and like the sort of spiritualism or spirituality that he got into.
Right.
Kind of helped him make sense of his life. And we have people commenting all the time like, oh, you need to get more, this 9 Para officer or this guy. And then I'm like, I'm open to it. If you guys want to put us in contact with, we're excited to have foreign special ops guys on the show. So,
Yeah.
I mean, keep the recommendations coming. 197 was Gary Harrington, who's a special forces guy and then a CIA officer. And that episode was the one that went like pretty viral for us.
Yeah, almost 1 million views on a full episode, on like a long form episode.
Yeah, and I mean he was great. I mean, great stories, and that's why we invited him to come back again. Pilot, yeah, he was fucking awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
He was awesome. Yeah. Episode 200. Where do we even begin with that one?
Well, how can you?
Yeah, I don't even know how you talk about it. I mean,
Our
my least favorite episode.
don't be a hater, D.
I mean, if you want to know what it's all about, just go check it out and skip forward like every hour to see if you're interested in the content that's going on that hour.
It was a lot going on.
Because it's like 14 hours.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is like YouTube, when you're live streaming, cuts off at 12 hours. That's why it's only 12 hours on YouTube. I have the full one. The full one is up on the audio version. So what you need to do, just I guess for FYI, which we're never gonna do it again. I hope to God. Is like you have to stop the stream and then restart it again, and you can go for another 12 hours.
Wow.
That's the rule. That's like the.
So now we know how to get to our famed 24-hour episode.
So that's what they did. Like part of my take in Barstool, they did a 24-hour stream, and that's how I figured it out because they were tweeting about it because people were bitching that the stream stopped for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And they were like, we have to stop the stream to redo it because like it stops after 12 hours.
No, we won't do another.
Those are some super fans though. If like they're bitching at the 12-hour point.
I know
that.
Yep.
I mean, God bless Barstool.
Yeah, PMT is a huge podcast. They get like a million downloads an episode.
It's also one of those things where you're doing a ridiculous stream like that. People can like check it out,
come in and come out,
drift away.
Yeah.
12 hours later, why are you still here?
Yeah.
Right. What is wrong with you people? And you can find out. And the good thing, Dave, is when you spilled all your national security secrets at hour 14, it's not on YouTube, so you're good.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So yeah, no, we will be hitting episode 300 in 2024, but we're not going to do 12 hours. We'll probably do like a D&D game or something, and
I love that
4 or 5 hours.
4 or 5 hours is beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
Episode 201 was Dustin Ward, Ranger.
Yeah.
He had some baller stories out there. Some firefights in Afghanistan. Would love to have him back sometime.
Also, Dustin's Light Sleeper.
Yes, Light
He's got
Sleeper.
the Light Sleeper, so check that out. Lightsleeper.com.
Episode 202 was Frank McCloskey. Frank was a SF, MACV-SOG, CIA officer. He has some great stories about Central America, too.
Yeah.
203 was Kate Manion. Kate from Barstool Sports from Zero Blog 30. Mm-hmm. She was here in studio. She's always fun.
Yeah, she was hilarious. She had just gotten pregnant, too, so she couldn't booze it up. Because she usually gets boozed up. Like, they do, like, a live show all the time called The Yak, and she's they always get fucked up on the shows. It's, like, 1 p.m., too, during the week. And they use sometimes, like, they do a case race where, like, whoever finishes a case of beer first wins. And it's, like, it's just mayhem. So she usually gets fucked up.
Anybody who finishes a case of beer loses.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%. They're fucking mangled, dude. It's like a disaster. They also get their faces painted, so they're doing it with face paint.
That's funny.
204, Roger Lockshear, who is he's a crew chief flying Hueys with MACV-SOG. Episode 205 was the 4-hour Chris Miller epic.
That was a great show.
It was an awesome show. And Chris drove all the way up from the D.C. area and then drove back that night.
Yeah, what a trooper.
He was hardcore.
Yeah, and we were like trying to keep the show short for him, and because we knew he had to drive back, and he just powered through.
Yeah.
We gave him the option at about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we could stop here. And he's
Do
like,
it.
no, let's keep going.
Yeah. He was in the zone. 206 was Gary Nostner, who's an FBI negotiator. Mm-hmm. That's, again, really unique perspective.
Really great insight, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Episode 207, David Walton, served with 7th Special Forces Group and trains young people to get prepared for SFAS.
Dr. Dave.
Yeah. He was great.
Yeah.
208 was our first episode with Dale Hansen, and we were suffering from some technical issues, so... Back to the whole like streaming nature of the show, like there's some things we can control. One of them is not the other person's internet connection. So we asked Dale to come back, which we'll hit up in a minute. Don Bentley, 209, is an author, Apache pilot, flew after Red Wings happened. And then, speaking of Red Wings, Ed Derrick was a journalist who wrote the book. He was episode 210. 211 was Nelson Miller, SEAL Team 6. He was a chief, Master Chief, right? He wasn't an officer.
No.
Yeah, Master Chief.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nelson Miller was awesome.
Yeah, he was great.
We had a lot of SEALs this year.
212 was Ward Carroll.
Yeah.
Ward has his own podcast. Is it called the Ward Carroll channel? I think it is.
Yeah, I think it's just called War Carol.
Yeah. And he does aviation stuff. So go check Ward out.
He also I think he just hit 500,000 subscribers.
Damn.
Yeah, he's doing good.
Yeah, good for him, man. I like briefly worked for Ward like way back when. And it's cool to see. I mean, both of us have kind of like gone off and done other things. And well, now we're both on YouTube, so we're not really doing other things. We're doing the same thing. 213 was Michelle Taylor, FBI agent.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's with, is it Trenchcoat?
Trenchcoat Advisors, yeah.
Trenchcoat Advisors.
Yeah.
With Holden Triplett.
With Holden.
Yeah, Michelle was really cool. She was awesome. And she was an intelligence officer
in 101st, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then no relation, but episode 214 was Mike Taylor. So Mike was a Special Forces veteran. He became world-renowned when he allegedly smuggled Carlos Ghosn out of Japan.
Well, I don't think we have to say allegedly anymore. He said he did, and Japan threw him in jail for it. So I think we're okay with.
Yeah, I think the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah,
he's okay if he smuggles out Carlos Ghosn again.
Yeah. And that was a really interesting episode for, one, because of his stories, but two, learning about our own justice system that, to everybody's surprise, I'm sure, doesn't even follow its own rules sometimes, because they extradited him to a country that did not meet U.S. standards for imprisonment, and they're not supposed to do that.
I don't know if there's, if there isn't a law, there should be a law. But we have an extradition treaty with Japan. But that's the problem. And just this week, they released that it was a naval officer who's being held. He was in prison in Japan. And this guy, he went hypoxic at the wheel and tragically killed 2 people. And they put him in prison for 3 years. And the Biden administration, I guess, put pressure. I don't know what the backroom dealing is, but they just released him this week and sent him home.
No, it's interesting. It's with Mike Taylor, it's very interesting because allegedly, like what he said is that he technically didn't even break any laws in Japan. It's they were butthurt, and so he went to jail for
he embarrassed them.
He
That's
embarrassed them,
really
so
about.
he went,
It's a shame.
Imagine living in a country where you can go to jail because the country feels butthurt.
Or they can arrest you over and over and over again, and they can hold you like indefinitely, basically, without charging you with a crime.
Yeah.
They can subject you to sleep deprivation, pull you out of your cell day and night to be interrogated by prosecutors.
Yeah.
It doesn't meet like an American standard for sure. That was always my problem with his extradition. 215, Andy Milburn. Here in studio.
Good old Andy. We love Andy.
Probably, his 3rd or 4th appearance on the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this one might have been his 3rd.
All right. I hope we can get Andy back one of these days when he's coming through. He's a great guy.
I think we'll be able to get him back, yeah.
216 is Justin Sapp and Toby Harnden. So Justin was the first Green Beret in Afghanistan with Team Alpha, the CIA's Team Alpha. And Toby Harnden wrote the book, which is called
First Casualty.
First Casualty, thank you. And so we had them both here in studio, both great guys. We've had both of them on previously, so if you haven't read First Casualty, I definitely suggest picking it up. 217 was Felipe Peters, RRC, the Regimental Reconnaissance Company. And Felipe he's another fascinating, interesting guy. His whole life story he was a Mennonite, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and born in Mexico, not speaking Spanish, speaking their language. It's I guess it's a derivative of Dutch.
I didn't even know that. That's fucking gnarly.
Did he say that on the show?
Yeah.
I forgot that part.
Yeah.
I know he's a Mennonite. I didn't know that was one of their party tricks.
Yeah. And then he, of course, immigrated to the United States and joined the Ranger Regiment and had a wild and interesting career.
Yeah.
And that's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Super cool.
And then there were a couple here I missed. This was when I was on vacation in Iceland. So you guys tell me. 218 was Steve 40.
What's interesting is they're the most viewed.
Yeah, I take off and
the ones that you're not
let
in.
you guys go, and you're doing just fine without me.
Besides the Gary Harrington one, I'll give you that one.
Yeah, because I wasn't here for that one.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Steve was fantastic.
Steve was cool. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, Special Force, but then also, talked about talked about resilience. Talked a lot about resilience and strategies for post-traumatic stress, strategies for maintaining resilient soldiers. Fantastic, great episode.
Yeah, and he's a chief wellness officer of this hospital for special surgery.
Good for him.
Yeah.
That's great. 219 was Mark Polymeropoulos.
Oh, and the guest host was Andy Milburn for these.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
he was staying in my place.
Mark, who I just want you to know that
Oh yeah, he's got a beef with you.
he's got a beef with you.
He's like, why is Jack avoiding me?
yeah,
What?
two episodes in a row.
Yeah, and you haven't been on the show.
It's the other way around. It's like I can't come on the show, so I tell you guys it's on you. You figure out what you want to do for the show, and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna call Mark.
Yeah.
And Mark's always welcome. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to skip out when Mark comes on the show.
Mark booked, bro.
No, you that's not how we're booked.
Well,
3 months out. You're not like
No, we're
Just
not.
pop it up.
Not on those ones.
This last one with Mark, we booked him like 3 weeks ago because somebody dropped out.
Yeah.
But I think this one during the summer.
I was not here. I was on
Yeah,
vacation.
you weren't
yeah,
here.
but
I
you
think we
didn't
had
just
him
like
booked.
go
I think we had
figure
him
it out and we call Mark because you he
had-
was already scheduled.
I had my vacation scheduled like 6 months in advance. What?
No, I think we had Mark scheduled from like at least a couple months in advance. Steve 40 was a guy who popped in for us because somebody
Right,
canceled
Steve was
on
the
us.
last minute fill because somebody.
Yeah.
But Steve was somebody who was on our radar
Yeah.
because of the book.
Well, I was talking to Steve about maybe booking him. I think at that point we needed a book for like September, October, so I was looking to book him then.
The big big coffee book.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like- it's that one.
Yeah.
Yes, the 20-year war.
Well, yeah, that's Blakely.
Yeah.
we'll get to him in a minute. But yeah, no, I don't care about Mark. But I am
We
sorry.
know you don't care about Mark. Mark knows you don't care about Mark.
I am sorry.
Clip that.
I am sorry. I missed out on episode 220 though when we flew Dale Hansen down from Alaska.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
I am sorry I missed that one.
We
I
forgive
mean,
you, bro.
how'd it go?
I feel bad for Steve and Mark now because Jack doesn't feel bad about missing them.
No, I feel bad that I missed Steve. I said I don't care about missing Mark.
I mean, we grabbed lunch with Mark too, like a month ago, 2 months ago.
Yeah, we did. The Greek restaurant.
No, Dale was fantastic. It was a great show. I'm trying to remember. Do you remember some of the highlights of that?
I mean, it's long. It's like 3 hours and 20 minutes. So he goes through a lot of his shit. Like it's pretty crazy. Like he talks about how he lost his fingers and stuff like
Yep.
that.
I did read his book.
It's pretty,
his memoir is Born Twice.
Okay.
That's right,
You guys
Born
wanna
Twice.
find it.
Yep.
And I'm glad like the Mac v Sog ones do pretty good numbers wise. Like that one has over 430,000 views.
Oh, and speaking of which, I'll give him a shout out on here. Bud Gibson runs a podcast. I think it's called the Recon Podcast or
Yeah.
something like that.
I think so.
And he's a young guy, and he's like super into, same thing we do really, trying to like interview these Mac v Sog guys and get their stories and get their history. And he's done an incredible job. And in order for that legacy to continue to live, it's really important that like younger people, younger than me and you, even,
for sure.
kind of like get passionate about it.
Yeah.
So I'll be doing Bud's podcast next month. I don't know what he wants to talk about with me. I was not quite that old to be in Mac v Sod, but
Maybe he thinks you were.
could be the
Yeah.
gray.
I mean, you're a boomer.
Could be. But no, go check his podcast out. He's doing really good stuff. 221, Mark Graney. We had him in studio. Ironically, I had been like trying to get Mark for years, and Mark was like more elusive than like these super spooky CIA people that I'm trying to like, find them, and then I finally get a hold of them, and it takes me like time to convince them that like maybe this is going to be a cool thing. Mark was so hard to get it to nail down, and I had like friends of Mark. I had like other authors. I'm like, oh, you're at this writers convention? Go to Mark Rainey and tell him that Jack Murphy's tired of you avoiding him or something like this. And eventually we made it happen. And I only say this out of love because I'm a big fan of Mark Rainey's work. He writes the Gray Man series.
I think you called him out on Twitter too.
I probably did numerous times. I only do it because I love Mark, and I think he's
Now
doing great
is he the
stuff.
one who you like? Who you like? Good idea, Feder, or like sent the will actually email to.
Yeah, on the SR25.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't a well actually. It was like I was like, hey, Mark, he was a galley copy, so it's before publication.
Yeah.
And I was like, great book, Mark. One thing you might want to fix. You said the SR was 556 or 762. And he's holding on to that. He's holding on to it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He should.
Okay, episode 222 was Frank D'Alicio, former DEA agent who was infiltrating what were the satanic drug dealing motorcycle gangs.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Neo-Nazi motorcycle
so good,
gangs.
yeah.
Like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
People got a little upset about that one.
People are always a little upset, man.
They did good. Let me see the plus.
I thought Frank was great, and we're gonna have Frank in studio in 2024, and I believe he's bringing one of his DEA friends with him.
Nice.
Or, I'm sorry, not DEA, ATF.
ATF.
I don't. I'm sorry if I said DEA earlier.
I think you did, but it was ATF.
ATF agent.
Yeah. Which was really interesting because I knew the DEA did a lot of deep cover stuff like that, but obviously almost all you hear from ATF is
Waco.
Sort of the bullshit. Yeah.
Waco.
And to hear about them infiltrating these gangs and really doing this deep cover stuff, and I mean hanging it all out there.
Really?
Hanging it all out there.
Some lunatics. Yeah.
It was fascinating.
Episode 223. That was the Andy Stumpf episode.
And he was great. He was a great guest. He's just a lot of fun. He's fun to have on. He's
Yep.
I like him because he has pretty dry wit, but he's pretty. He's really quick. But yeah, it was a great episode.
And then, this is jumping around in time, but you and I flew out to Montana, and we did the Andy Stumpf podcast out there in Kalispell.
Yeah.
Kalispell.
Kalispell.
So you guys can go check that out if you want. Dave and I are.
That was a lot of fun too.
It was
just
a good
kind
time.
of sitting around shooting the shit.
Yeah. 224 was to complete the LERP trifecta, Gary Linderer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Ken Miller, Larry Chambers, Gary Linderer, they wrote a series of books, I think it was Phantom Warriors, about the LERPs, about their platoon. And so Gary Linderer was the last of the three. And, I mean, he was great. He was Silver Star recipient in some huge firefights in Vietnam. Episode 225 was I.S. Berry. She's the novelist. She wrote The Peacock and the Sparrow, but she's also a CIA case officer. And that was like one of my favorite novels of 2023, The Peacock and the Sparrow. I hope you guys will check out the episode. Go check out her book, too. It was a really good read. 226 was Gary Harrington on for a second time.
Yep.
We had him here in studio.
And I was fortunate enough to be here that time, yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. The best stories were after he rapped.
Yes, that's true.
He spilled some tea, some amazing tea that could never get out there, but it was.
The secrets we know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sick.
Episode 227. I want to say this is one I missed.
Yeah, you missed this.
Nate Caraccia, is that the
I think it's Cornacchia.
Cornacchia?
Remind me of Nate again.
Nate was a special for. Hold on, me.
I'm sorry. Again, like I said, TBI is fucking. Oh yeah, Nate. Okay. No, go back.
It's Nate.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, Nate was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed him. So go check out episode 227. And then 228 was Aaron Hale, EOD technician who got really, really badly injured in Afghanistan. Totally blind and now deaf too, right? Because he lost
Yeah, he
his
got
sight in the
meningitis.
blast, and then
Right.
the infection led to him losing his hearing.
Right, and then he had like the
Implants
the
and stuff,
implants?
yeah.
Yeah, so you can hear a little bit.
Yeah.
Incredible guy.
Yeah, fascinating, and still super. I mean, such a testament to like the human spirit. I mean, my back hurts, and I won't get out of bed for 3 days. And here's a guy who's blind and mostly deaf, and is like climbing.
Living life.
He does
Yeah.
a podcast.
Yeah.
I went on his podcast. It was fun.
Oh, you went on his podcast?
Yeah, that was the clip that I told Jack.
Oh, right.
Jack laughed at the clip of me talking shit about like what I was gonna do with my life.
What's his podcast called?
Point of Impact.
Cool. Yeah, go check it out. Yeah, Aaron was really cool, man. 229, Ranger Hall of Fame inductee Tommy Shook. Tommy was in Vietnam, and then he was with the Rangers. He bounced there. It was interesting that he back in the early days before like a lot of these things were formalized. Like Tommy's one of these interesting guys who his career he was able to jump between Ranger Battalion and Special Forces, and do a little bit of both. And he was on the Green Light teams also at one point.
Yeah.
Episode 230, we had Aaron Schwartzbaum here in studio for an update on Ukraine. Aaron is a Russia expert. That was a really good episode, needed after the previous episode. It was a year prior. A lot had happened between.
And it was just
now.
after Prigozhin got smoked.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
231 was former HRT sniper Chris Whitcomb. Had him here in studio. Man, that was another one of those like mega 4-hour
Wild ride.
episodes.
Yeah.
4 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And we could have got another 4 hours, to be
Oh,
honest
yeah.
with you. Like,
Yeah. Episode 232 was Hudson Sullivan, who was a American foreign fighter in Ukraine, and actually we're going to see him at our Christmas party this Friday. He's coming down. 233 was Dan Blakely, Army Ranger. You want to grab his book there real quick, Dave? Yeah, some great Ranger stories, and he also put together this great like photo montage, photo and essay book, really.
Yeah, it's basically a great coffee table book, but it's vignettes, basically maybe 2 pages or 3 pages, where it just talks about veterans, combat or wartime veterans, and what they're doing today, like how their lives have transitioned, things like that. And it's also Steve is in this book.
Oh, cool.
It's a fantastic book where it just has incredible photography, these portraits, and then just their personal stories about what they did after the war, what life looks like after that.
Cool. That's really cool. 234, David McCloskey. He's former CIA analyst, author of his latest book is Moscow X. Had him on the show. We actually talked a lot about his time working Syria when the Civil War was happening.
Honestly, that was like the best part of the. I was expecting like, we're gonna talk about the book the whole time, even though the book is awesome.
Yeah,
but I love the Syria talk.
Yeah, his insights into that conflict was like, it was very helpful for me to help understand, what was going, like especially like what the American intelligence community was like thinking, what they were looking at that time. We'll have to revisit that at some point. And I'm sure we'll have David on again. He's still writing. Actually, his I think he announced his 3rd book.
Yeah, it's the one he was talking about where there's a mole on the 7th floor.
Yeah.
Which sounds pretty cool. That sounds like it'll be an interesting one.
Episode 235 was the Brent Tucker episode. Brent was his background. He started off in Special Forces National Guard, and then he was a Delta operator. Also spent a lot of time in Syria and Afghanistan.
And Brett came to prominence through his calling out of Rob O'Neill on his podcast, the Anti-Hero Podcast.
Yeah, that was a great episode.
No, Brent's a cool dude.
Brent was.
He seems like a super down-to-earth guy.
Brent, yeah.
Yeah. No, I really liked him. 236 was Doc Osgood, author of is the book Hawk Recon. Yeah, it's right behind you, Hawk Recon. They got another Vietnam memoir.
Doc's the man, dude.
Yeah.
He gave us a chance to plug our Patreon during the show. It was perfect.
No, he did. It's interesting too because we're going back to a time where special operations as a concept, special forces. It was special operations, but it had a specific function. And we talk about Mac v. SOGs, but there are units in the 101st, and there are units that are creating these specialty teams that are doing special operations and, some
we would think of it today, yeah.
Going out there and hanging it all on the line that, we tend to forget about.
This is another one I'm sorry I missed. Robin Horsfall, SAS.
Yeah. No, that was a fantastic episode, and it's so rare to get somebody from the SAS or the SBS on. And yeah, Robin was just like a peach of a dude.
I spoke to him on the phone a few times. He seemed like a super articulate, smart guy.
Yeah.
And we started late. We started at 7. And he's in the UK, and he hung in for over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm sorry I missed that one. He sounded like such a nice guy when I talked to him.
he really was. It was a fantastic episode.
238 was Pasha Monroe, SBS operator.
Yeah.
And he was great too. And again, another perspective. We hadn't had an SBS guy on the show.
Pasha was so much fun.
Yeah.
He's just a dude who just has. He's just like a dude. Like he's like a bloke. He's like a dude you just want to sit and drink and hang out with. And yeah, he's a great dude.
Another guy who had a very human story.
Yeah.
Very human origin story.
Yeah.
And really, I guess just through sheer determination,
Yeah.
really turned himself into something really impressive.
Yeah, great story.
Episode 239 was Daniel Devine, who is a crew chief with 160th. And man, that guy had some really insightful stories too.
Yeah.
The ones that stand out for me actually are the Philippines.
Yeah.
Because there's some stuff that I had heard from a different perspective, and then hearing kind of an insider from the 160th side. I'm like, oh, that's how that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great. 240, we had Mike Edwards in studio. Mm-hmm. That was probably the third time we've had Mike on the show.
Yep.
Third time.
Yeah.
But the first two
We're remote.
Second one was with his wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then this time he was in studio, and it was just he's just such a great person. He's so fun to hang out with.
Yeah, Mike's solid.
Yeah.
Always been a solid guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's a good dude, and hope we can even have him back again sometime. 241. I think you may have missed this one actually. This was Yaya Fanusi. Yeah, because Jason Lyons guest hosted on that one with me.
Right.
You had a wedding.
There you go.
Oh, right. Yeah. Not mine, but
Yaya was a oh my gosh, I want to say he was actually an economics analyst.
Yeah, for CIA.
At CIA,
Yeah.
and then he spent time at NCTC. He was really good, a really smart guy.
Really smart. Yeah.
Yeah, really good story. And I don't know if anyone is keeping track or even cares, but what we're trying to do here is establish a little cell of people who can come and guest host on the show when either I can't make it or Dave can't make it or something goes really wrong, neither of us can make it. So people like Andy Milburn.
You can't have me fucking guest host.
Andy Milburn.
What am I gonna say?
Jason Lyons. Maybe one or two other alternates we'd like to have, people who can come in and do that.
And one of the reasons for that, it's not that Jack is a far better interviewer than I am, but I can get through it on my own.
I don't know. You did 3 episodes that are the best sellers for the year. So.
Well, but what I'm saying though is one of the reasons we like to have these guest hosts is one, it mixes it up a little bit too. And as a live podcast that can go to 2 to 3 hours, it's really great to have a second perspective of somebody else bring in the questions.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I will obviously just talk about the color of their socks. I'd be fascinated by that.
242 was Brad Thomas.
Yeah.
Brad came in. He was an operator. He was a ranger. He was a RRD guy. And what's the name of his band?
Silence and Light.
Yeah, so go check them out. It was great having him here.
It was fantastic. Yeah, he was so good.
We're still eating the Halloween candy he brought. We're almost done with it. Even though he pawned some of those Whoppers off on us. Don't think I don't know what you were doing there, Brad. But I enjoyed the rest.
Wait, you don't like Whoppers?
No.
I think we need to discuss this for
I don't
a
know
second.
if I love them either.
Okay. All right, I know there's a problem here because you guys both order turkey sandwiches when there's other meat in the deli.
Go get the Whoppers off the top of the
I'm taking
microwave.
all the Whoppers.
Go get them now. I want to see you eat them.
No, we have issues right now.
We're not going to leave until you eat the whole pack.
I just want everyone to know there is beef in this studio right now. Turkey and non-Whoppers, there are problems.
I can't believe you eat Whoppers, man.
Whoppers are amazing, man. Especially when
go ahead, Dave.
Especially when you get the deformed ones.
That's
They didn't quite, like they have a density to them.
That's all you.
Whoppers are great. There's a problem with you guys.
So look, don't get mad at us. Look at the camera. Thank Brad for the Whoppers.
Right.
Brad, thank you for the Whoppers, and I apologize for these jamokes. I apologize.
243 was Pete Blaber. Pete just wrote his third volume of Common Sense Leadership. And that book, the new one, is a lot about the Pat Tillman ambush. So we had him on talking about his career and his book. And actually, I would like to have Pete on again because we kind of cut him off at like...
We didn't even get to the GWAT.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because I wanted to make sure we talked about his new book.
Pete was for me personally, Pete was such an interesting loop because I believe, did he say it was the S3 or Pete was an officer. He had already been an officer at at the unit, and then when I was a new ranger, he was an officer
in battalion.
At battalion, and people would talk about him in hushed whispers, in the chow hall, like, oh, he's been behind the fence. And so it was such kind of and he didn't know who I was because I was some, nothing E4 at the time. But it was such a cool sort of loop to close in on.
Right, to hear the whole rest of the story.
To hear the whole rest story
beyond
about this person who was this sort of mythical being when I was in Ranger Battalion.
He seems like a good guy. Pretty down-to-earth dude.
Yeah.
244 was John Dovey, who served in the South African Defense Forces and then the South African National Defense Forces, SANDF. So when the government changed over there, spent like 35 years in the South African military.
Yeah.
I mean, those were like incredible insights.
Yeah.
From somebody who spent a long, long time there, from like the external stuff and the border war in Angola, and then the internal and the village unrest that was going on.
It's such an education in a time that I remember, the whole Don't Play Sun City, like the whole sort of, of one aspect of what was going on in that, and not just South Africa, but, in that region. But so much of it is buried and lost to history without these guys, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Or doesn't get talked about.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I'm glad we could have him on.
Yeah, absolutely.
245, we had Greg Coker on the show for a second time.
Yeah, with his knives.
Yeah, mostly talking about his knife work.
Holy cow. I mean, that guy, first off, his story is amazing. And secondly, his knives are gorgeous.
And Blades for Brothers.
Yeah, Blades for Brothers, his organization to, help veterans and first responders, develop new hobbies, a new craft that has actually helped him in a measurable way through cognitive tests and whatnot.
Yeah, Blades for Brothers, definitely worth supporting. And also go check out his knives. I mean, his knives are beautiful. Those of you who are like aficionados who are really into that stuff, I mean, you're going to love what he does. 246 was William Yeske. We have his book, Damn the Valley was the name of his book.
Yeah.
He was in 82nd Infantrymen.
Yep.
A lot of Afghanistan stories. Had him in studio. He was awesome.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, he was great. 247 was Zach Dorfman, the KGB spies infiltrating Silicon Valley.
Which, unfortunately, even though Dee and I were here for, and Jack wasn't, we couldn't be a part of it because we had a hot mic in the studio that we could not fix.
We couldn't figure it out. It was going to sound horrible if we plugged in the studio audio. So
we did. It was just a Zoom to Zoom interview.
Yeah.
Thankfully,
improvise.
Thank God Jack was
so Dee and I just sat in the studio giving each other massages while Jack talked to D, or while Jack talked to Zach.
Yeah, go check out his podcast about it's like a limited series. It's like 6 episodes about somebody who committed acts of treason and stealing industrial secrets from Silicon Valley. Episode 248 and episode 249 was with Mike Vickers, author of By All Means Available. That's his memoir.
Legend.
Yeah, I mean, 10th Special Forces Group, CIA paramilitary officer, then went on to be the Assistant Secretary for Special Operations and Low Intensity Conflict, and the Undersecretary for Defense Intelligence.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad, and I mean, he was very gracious with his time.
Yeah.
2 episodes in 2 weeks with us. They were great, so please go check those out. 250, I missed it. Mark. Sorry, Mark. What happened?
But you're not sorry, because you said you don't miss Mark.
I was just like being polite.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. You know, Mark worked the sort of Israeli Gaza, Israeli Hamas desk, or that was one of the issues that he dealt with during his time at the CIA. So he was very, very familiar with the region, with the politics, with the issues. I mean, and obviously you can see through the comments if you guys look, sort of like Milburn's comments. There are a lot of people with a lot of opinions. But I feel like Mark is a very, he's a very balanced person, He called out the problems with Netanyahu, but also nothing of that matters with the Hamas attack. And so we talked about that. He caught us up on what's going on with Ukraine and Russia and some of the challenges going on with the funding there. And also not just the funding, but what that funding has equated to, what it's amounted to. Yeah, and he's health-wise, he's doing better. If you guys are keeping up with his Havana syndrome stuff, but yeah, he's fantastic.
And then this Friday, we're not going to have an episode. We're having our company Christmas party, but we might go live for like 15 minutes or something.
Yeah, we might do something a little
during
bit
the
like,
show.
Wait, are we not? Wait, I thought we were doing. I thought we were doing Melissa's episode.
She's next
That's
week.
next week after that, after this Friday.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, we said Merry Christmas because I thought it was a Christmas episode.
Yeah, I think it's the day like between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, it's
that
right there.
episode.
Oh, yeah.
The Christmas tree's still up. It's okay.
Yeah, it definitely
Well,
is.
anyway, if you're actually watching this episode and you've made it this far, make sure you watch Melissa's episode.
It's going to be 251. Melissa Nahara.
She is a badass. And I love her.
Badass, awesome episode.
It was great. Yeah, you guys are going to love her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that brings us up to this episode, the 2023 year in review.
What?
It's awesome, man. I mean, it's like 3 pages of names here, man.
We made
it.
it.
It was a lot.
Yeah, I think it was a good year. It was a good year.
It was a really good year. So, in 2024, I mean, we're scheduled into March. I'm trying to finalize the second half of March right now, actually, with some really exciting people. But the people we have locked in right now, we got a MARSOC dude, some Special Forces guys. We have a soft weather guy, combat weatherman. We got several former CIA officers. As I mentioned, Frank D'Alicio will be here in studio.
We have Pat O'Donnell coming up.
That's in June.
that's in
you're
June?
right. You're right. But that's a ways.
Oh, that's
a ways.
I thought
out.
it was in February.
No.
Pat, that book needs to come out. Yeah.
We do have him booked, but
Yeah.
that's going to be.
I thought it was in February.
That's going to be a ways out.
Yeah.
We have some Rangers, another 160th pilot, another MACV SOG guy. There are a couple other LERPs that I need to reach out to and schedule, who are also talented authors. Excited to. I want to get that locked in for 2024. And then we went out to dinner last week and talked about the dream guests, like the people we want to have on. And I don't know if I want to start throwing names out there of people who we haven't even spoken to yet, but I have high hopes.
Yeah.
Setting the bar high.
Yeah.
I
thought that because we talked about that on Andy Stump's show too about dream guests, And I thought his dream guest was
W.
Was a very good, very interesting from the idea of what did you think about all this? Like, what did you actually know? What was the intel you were getting? And
it would be absolutely fascinating to sit down with W. We're talking about President Bush, and I've never heard him sit down and do like a retrospective.
Yeah.
Just this is kind of how it happened. This is what happened, and then this and that. And I don't think did George Bush write a memoir or anything?
Yeah,
like
I think
that?
he did when he first got out. Yeah,
they
I
usually
think so.
do.
Has the president ever actually sat down and talked about what went wrong or what decision, I don't want to say bad decisions, because obviously a president makes decisions on the information they get. So
yeah, he came out with the memoir. It's called Decision Points.
Interesting. I think the former presidents sometimes are very reticent to speak publicly about this stuff, including national security stuff.
Yeah.
Partly as like some sort of like decorum, like they don't want to fuck with the current administration.
Right.
Because like if you're out there kind of like talking smack or not talking smack, but it could like kind of undermine what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
So I think it's like a matter of like not policy, but like decorum, that they normally don't go out and do that so much.
It's also kind of, rightly or wrongly, it might be shitting on the people who feed them their information, because the president is not the one out there collecting.
But you're the guy who's in charge.
Analyzing, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, all you can trust is the information you get.
But I mean, now we're talking, 20 plus years after the fact. I mean, it would be a good time for a historical retrospective on that.
I agree.
That's very like just neutral, and we don't need to. The emotion has subsided at least a little bit.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of anger out there, but.
I'm curious if we hadn't have gotten involved in Iraq, if Afghanistan would have gone any differently.
That's a great question. It's a great question.
I mean, nobody will ever know, right? Like it's all subjective now. It's all conjecture or whatever. But it's interesting to think, if we hadn't have been waging this two-front war, would Afghanistan have been different? Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, it's interesting.
That'd be a great question to ask him. Yeah. Otherwise, what's coming in 2024? We're still batting around the idea of doing a new intro. New merch is something I need to get off my ass on and work on that.
We all sit on their asses at some point. I know I do.
What else? What else do you guys want to do in 2024?
Maybe a new podcast, a little bit different. Maybe we'll see. We've been batting that around.
We've been talking about it. I mean, it would be and listen, we're just like spitballing here. Like we haven't even like formalized or really like come up with any idea we're attached to. But like one idea is to like find somebody else. I mean, maybe one of the people who guest host for us to come in and do their own show like midweek, and they would bring in their own guests or have their own type of content in the national security.
Sure,
sphere.
Dee and I have talked about doing movie stuff just because Dee is brilliant with movies, and I watch a ton of them.
I watch a ton too. I'm not that good. I made one movie.
You did one movie. Dee's movie is called Jimbo. Where can people find that?
You can find it on YouTube.
Yeah,
it's on YouTube, just there.
Yeah,
I might put it back on Amazon Prime. But
it's a great indie heist film. It's a crime film.
Ideally, I'd love to revisit the gaming idea at some point. We just need to be. We just need to be. We need to be, I think, smart in how we do it, to find committed people and not just people who are committed in the idea that they'll be here when they say they're going to be here, but also committed in the sense that they'll read the real books, they know
engaged with it,
that they want to be it.
I really miss gaming. I had 2 campaigns going at the same time, and now they're kind of concluded or wound down, and I would love to get back into it.
Yeah, I remember. Did I make a deal or did I get taken over? Remember when I played the Warlock that like almost fucked everybody up?
Yeah. One of my online campaign on Fantasy Grounds, and you played in the very first one, I think, and your character got killed.
Yeah.
And then I brought you back like 50 games later, your resurrected form came back. A lich had resurrected you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were just like taxing that ass,
Yeah.
beating up the other player
Yeah.
characters.
I actually didn't kill them all intentionally. Like I was like, I don't want to do a full party wipe here.
Yeah, I don't think the players realized until later when I told them like that their lives were in your hands.
Yeah.
Like as a DM, I was just like, if
Yeah.
you killed them, you were killing them. That's
Yeah.
just how it was going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I remember that.
That was one of the funnest parts of that
was
entire
fun.
campaign,
Yeah.
actually. But yeah, I know I would love to, like, if we can work out something like that works. I'd
Yeah.
love to do it.
Yeah.
Well, and we'll do a game for episode 300, a little trial run, see how it goes. And I don't know who the other players are going to be yet. We got to work on that one too.
I'm down to be a player. I've
Yeah?
never played D&D.
Okay.
I think Dee'd be a great player. I mean, Lana's down, our former guest, and
I bet she'd be down for it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Lana's fun. Yeah, it'd be a good time.
So that's 2023. I was going to say in a nutshell, but we've probably gone for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It's not really.
It's a big ass nut.
Yeah. But thank you everyone who like joined us in 2023. Everyone who watched the show, shared these episodes.
So we got 18 million views this year.
On YouTube. Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. I was looking at the stats.
It's pretty good.
18.4 million views.
Hello.
Yeah. And thank you for supporting the channel, keeping us going. Like
Yeah.
the Team House is a thing now. So.
Thanks for saying hi to us in airports when you recognize us and you're walking through. Like I get off on the fame, all of you guys that are, giving me the flash. I love it.
And and people who have sent us guest suggestions.
Yeah.
And like, hey, I know this dude. You got to talk to him. And sometimes it doesn't pan out for various reasons, but sometimes the results are awesome.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
So keep them coming. Especially. I'd love to feature like more women on the show. So like if you know women in the intelligence community and special operations, I'm searching.
I don't get that. You're in a happy relationship.
I'm in a happy. I'd like that. I'd like to have more happy Team House podcast relationships with women.
I see. Okay.
Expand our reach a little bit. There's this running joke about this place being a man cave with a testosterone level.
I mean, it is a man cave,
Yeah.
and there is a lot of testosterone. But look, I mean, the women we have on have a lot of testosterone. Like
Yeah.
they're badass women. It doesn't matter if they're an analyst or an operator or an intelligence officer or whatever else. Like they're badass. So
that's it, guys. I'm looking forward to 2024. Hope you are. Hope to see you here on the show. And that's it. Final thoughts, guys?
I'm excited for 2024. I'm ready to go.
I'm ready. Peace.